Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good morning. Welcome back to the Trevor Good Evening Show. This is part two of our segment. We have our guest here all the way from Australia, native of West Papua New Guinea, Brother Lewis Pry. Please, brother, introduce yourself. Welcome to the Trevor Good Evening Show.
Thank you, Brother Trevor. Yes, my name is Louis Pry, and I'm one of the representatives for OPM. I do a lot of advocacy work in West Papua, and as a nation, as a concerned citizen, issue of West Papua, is a very important issue because it concerns every people of the, Melanesian and Pacific region, and we cannot allow this situation to keep on going on. We need to do something about it. So as a child growing up, I was kind of curious and interested about what's really happening in West Papua, and seeing the stories on the media. My attention, my curiosity about the issue over there began to grow, and as a result, I've been very active in helping the struggle of the West Papuan people, and I play a very important role to inform the international community about what is really happening in West Papua. And I think it's an issue that we cannot deny anymore, how the Indonesian government and its agents, how they're treating our people. It must stop. The issue has reached the international stage where UN needs to act immediately and do something about it. Yeah.
And we're going to demand that the world powers step in and actually partake in making a difference here in West Papua with our brothers and sisters. We're going to start off with a video here for you guys so that in case you don't have a clear understanding on what's going on in West Papua, this will give you a better idea of what that is. I'll see there 1 second. 1 minute, please. Let me stop this share, stop sharing screen real quickly. Thank you for your patience with us, guys. We're figuring out how to do certain things here on the Trevor Goody from the show, and we want to start off with this video for you guys. We have a student here in my school who's an outer space enthusiast. But that's not the only thing about this student that's alien. His name, or her name, depending on the day, is Darby. Born Justine Darby, this student showed me the meaning of courage. When at age 11, she came out to our school as she, he, and they. And now every day in my mind, I applaud her, him, and them. Jackson's video and his death were hateful, and the only way to respond to hate is with love. We love all versions of you, Darby, okay? Like we love all versions of Caleb. So please, guys, let's celebrate that love tomorrow at the Memorial of the Holy Trinity. For now, though, a moment of silent, unenforced, non-denominational prayer. No. People. All our college essays are about you. You know that, right? I will cut you.
Or push my hand.
Brother, is the video showing on your end?
No, it's not showing.
Okay. Okay. Okay, 1 second here. Our apologies, everyone. My apologies to everyone. I am here I'm trying to share this video. My apologies. Let me go into President one more time. Share screen. My apologies, guys. Welcome to the Trevor Goody from the show. Welcome to the Trevor Goody from the show. And this right here is the video that we're showing you now. Can you see the video?
Yes.
All right. Now we're about to start it all over. Can you see the video, my brother?
Yes, I can see the video. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, guys. And are you hearing the same audio that I'm listening to?
Yes, I can hear you, but I can't. I mean, the video that you've just played, I can't hear anything. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
we
showing.
can't. Yeah, we can't hear the audio.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that we don't waste the people's time. My apologies,
Yep.
everyone.
Yes.
There's a link there. You could go look at it. I'm figuring this out. My sincere apologies. I did not share my audio, and that's what the problem was. But today's show is going to be about Sister Leonie, a little bit about who she was, and the part that she has played in this freedom struggle for the Papuan community. There's a little video here that we're going to share with everyone. If you could excuse me here, let me remove this banner from in your faces so that you can see us a little bit better. And this is even better here, right? All right. Tell us a little bit about Leonie, and then we'll go ahead and play this video, my brother. This show today is dedicated to Leonie Tagama.
Thank you, Brother Trevor. Yes. So, Leone is one of a very important figure in the West Papuan independence movement. She used to be based in. She used to live in the Netherlands, Holland. Unfortunately, in last year, she passed away. We were all surprised and confused, like we couldn't take that news lightly. Her loss is a serious, serious kind of like a setback, whole struggle, particularly to OPM as an parent organization that represent the people of West Papua, and the role that Leonie played is so important. She's one of the uh, leading figure, I would say, especially when you have our women, in the role where in our Melanesian culture, women kind of like play you know a role that is sort of in the back, but for her, she's one of the leading women that plays a very important role in the in the struggle of the West Papuan people, and she speaks a couple of international languages, and that adds a bonus to everything. And we were looking on here for continuing to take the struggle further, but unfortunately, God has its own plan. And anyway, the role that Leonie played as a diplomat. It's a very important role, and I was very privileged to be part of her life in, being part of the team. And yeah, her departure is a great loss to the people of West Papua, especially. And but we had to move on. The struggle of the West Papua people continues. The work, the rise hasn't finished yet. So yeah, and basically she started off as a she used to work with Alstom. That's from the information that we've had, and that's how she started off living in Netherlands. And she began to participate, and by working together with her dad, that's how she started off. And then eventually she joined. ULMWP, United Liberation Movement for West Papua, as one of the executive. I think that was in 2014. And then after that, yeah, she came and started working with OPM, and yeah, and that's how we started off. And we also participated in your show. And she's sort of a strength to all of us, especially to me. And under her guidance, I was able to, you know, play a part in trying to advocate for the people of West Papua. And yeah, her passing, it's really a sad, very sad to all of us. But as I've said again, the struggle of the West Papuan people continues on, and it is not, it hasn't ended yet. We've got a lot of work to do, and yeah.
Without a doubt. And you and I share a memory where we did maybe a couple of interviews with Leone.
Mm.
And, when you said that traditionally in the Papuan community, the women are in the back, and that Leone was a little different because she was on the forefront, is that as a leader, I'm discovering that the best leaders actually lead from the back.
Indeed, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So let it be known that the women in your Papuan community are the leaders. They lead from the back. And I'm sure you could attest to the fact that were it not for the Papuan women, their tenacity, their drive, their resistance, Papua would be in a worse condition right now.
Indeed.
And I only say that because throughout the entire globe, it is the black woman. It is the woman that is the backbone of why we are where we are, and our condition could actually be worse. So this show is dedicated to a woman, Leonie Tangama, who was a part of the Trevor Garifuna show, and we were honored to have her here. You know, we were so honored to have her here. And Leonie, I'm speaking to you and your spirit. You're here with us. As a Garifuna man, we know that we don't die. Death belongs to those who believe in such a concept. We as Africans, or the children of dust, the original man, we don't believe in death. You know, we move. And Leone, we know you've only moved and you're still here with us. So we have a short video that we want to share with you guys. Welcome to the Trevor Garifuna Show. Please share this feed because we're about to have some conversations that are going to empower you, that are going to inform you about what's happening and what's going on with our brothers and sisters in the Pacific Islands of West Papua. Papua Merdeka. Papua Merdeka. Free West Papua. Who was Leone Tagama? Leone Tagama was born into the heart of the West Papuan struggle. She was the daughter of Bernard Tagama, Minister for Foreign Affairs in exile of the Republic of West Papua, which was unilaterally proclaimed by the Free Papua Movement, OPM, in the 70s. Leone carried on her father's legacy by working for the Papuan human rights body ELSHAM, and representing her people's cause at various United Nations forums. Later, she became a ULMWP executive member. In this role, she was a dedicated servant of the Papuan independence movement, helping to lead the struggle abroad. She was one of the OPM diplomats during her passing. She was a great asset to the OPM. She was a great asset to the nation. And she continues to be an asset to the nation. She continues to be an asset to the people. You have a thought you want to share there about Leone before we go into this business, brother?
Yes, the Leone's legacy lives on. We will always remember her as part of one of our great leader, and we know that although she's gone, in spirit she is with us, and she will always be part of our struggle until West Papua is freed from Indonesian colonial rule and occupation.
Papua Merdeka. Papua Merdeka. Papua Merdeka means free West Papua. And there's an organization called Organisasi Papua Merdeka, Organization Free West Papua, OPM, which is the group that she was a part of. As we talk about the history of what happened in West Papua, let's first talk about a brief update on the current situation in West Papua.
Okay, so in regards to the brief update, the current situation we have in West Papua, the situation in West Papua has not improved since 2018, I would say. Currently, there's mass displacement of civilians in West Papua. You have this ongoing Indonesian military operations, and which have targeted about eight regions in West Papua. For example, the active conflict zone would be in Duga, Puncak, Papua, Yaukimo, Pegunungan Bintang, Star Mountains, Maibrat, Yapen Island, what else? Intonjai. So it's about 7 regions currently who are being targeted, regions that have been, you have people being displaced by ongoing Indonesian military operations, and this displacement has resulted in very serious humanitarian crisis where it needs an agent support from the international community. Currently, we also have a situation of a New Zealand pilot being taken as hostage, and there's a negotiation going on to have him released. And also, we have this DOB, the plan to create these new provinces again. It's one of the hot issue being discussed currently by people all over West Papua. This DOB plan, or the plan to create these new provinces, is very, very bad or dangerous for the people of West Papua. And also the ongoing Indonesian military deployment, which is a great concern to all of us. Recently, I think 2 weeks ago, not 2 weeks, last week, there was a shooting of a 12-year-old boy in Puncak, Papua, and again, Melanesian culture, especially in the villages, you have children, in the community. They walk around, they continue on with the daily, chores, whatever they do. So you have these, people, from another background, another completely different race altogether, coming to a Melanesian society, and they basically do not know our culture, our way of life, how we live, and they come to the village and they see anyone that they sort of, well, people act normal, they do whatever they do, but to them it's strange. So they shot this perfect 12-year-old boy, and later they uploaded the video on Facebook, I think, and they make fun of him, saying, "Oh, he's one of the members of OPM that we've just shot," and in in reality, he's just a small, a young boy,
A 12-year-old boy.
Yes, so it's like one of the trophy that they've just hunted
No,
down.
but no, but you see, that's what colonizers do. Colonizers have always, whether it's a Western colonizer or an Eastern colonizer, they will
Yeah.
always take the body, your body, my body, our body, and do anything to tear the body down, to make a mockery, just like you say, a trophy, you know, because here they would behead people as a trophy, right? They would take a clothing of yours as a trophy just to prove what they did to you. But that's what colonizers do. So Papuans are already the minority in West Papua. So that's one of the reasons why. Could you speak on that? Because you spoke on it a little bit, that there's a lot of intruders, invaders who are coming into the entire community, making it their own. Now Papuans are the minority.
Yeah, indeed. That's the current situation the people of West Papua are going through right now. Papuans already minority on their own land. There was a report from or study made by a Jakarta-based National Research and Innovation Agencies. So they noted that trans migrants from other parts of Indonesia not only dominate the Papuans' local economy, but they also its regional politics. So, for instance, there remains only a three native Papuans in Papuan representatives out of 21 legislative members in Merauke district, which is
Hold on, hold
southwest
on.
Papua.
There are 21 representatives, but there are only 3 Papuans.
Exactly. So that's in the southern part of region of West Papua called Merauke.
Hmm.
So where 70% of the population are non-Papuans, like they're not Papuans. Indonesians. So that's frightening when you have the such figures. So Indonesian Minister for Legal and Political Security Affairs, his name is Mr. Mahfud MD. He claims that 82% of Papuans support this this split province, creation of new provinces, but in reality,
Baby, take him away,
it's
please.
a public lie.
Please.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
So
baby. My baby
this
was
is
trying to climb up here. My apologies. Go ahead, baby.
yeah. So at this stage, we are very concerned with this creation of these new provinces, and from the report I read yesterday, they decided to create these new little regencies, and yes, yesterday I spoke to one of my friends in West Papua in an area called Membramo, and I asked him, and he said, like, we are confused. Like, if they want to create these new provinces, then who is going to come and work when you look at the human resources? I mean, West Papuan population is so small, and then you look at people who can work, um, so that means that if you create these new agencies, then obviously you would need to bring people from outside West Papua to come in and work. So then this is where it's going to increase the demography. For example, you will see that the provincial split or the creation of these new provinces will accelerate the steady reconfiguration of Papuans demography. Like, you will see that the Indonesians will begin to become minority in the land that doesn't belongs to them. So we are extremely concerned right now. If you make a rough estimate, almost 50% of the Papuan population is not indigenous anymore. So this is it's very concerned to all of us. So the idea of creating these new provinces or DOB, that's what they term it, is very bad for the people of West Papua. And many Papuans are saying that it is like a pathway to ethnic cleansing. So that's the whole idea. So they're extremely concerned and worried about this.
I'm actually looking up some information here that I'm going to post in a little bit as I'm listening to what it is that you're saying. The plan all along when the de facto government in 1961, between 1959 and 1962, when the Dutch government sold off West Papua to the Indonesian government with the support of the United States of America and the United Nations, the end goal was displacement of Papuans.
Indeed, yeah.
The displacement. That was one option. The other option was genocide, right? And if we were not in modern times, they would have went with the latter, genocide, because there wouldn't be no televisions, nobody would see it. They would just kill off all of the Papuans.
Mm-hmm.
But because God is so good to us, and we have media, we have these resources within our grasp, they can't do that. So the plan since day one has been displacement of the Papuan community one day at a time by calling the freedom fighters of West Papua terrorists, right? They call the freedom fighters of West Papua terrorists. I had this conversation earlier about one of the strategies of the colonizer is to call you the savage when they are the savage. Is to call you the puppet master when they're the puppet masters. Is to call you the devil when they are the devil themselves. And then they utilize what's called propaganda, which is used to direct your attention to wherever they want your attention. And we're going to encourage everyone to exercise reverse propaganda, because it is through this propaganda that they are calling the freedom fighters of South Africa, the freedom fighters of Haiti, the freedom fighters of West Papua New Guinea terrorists, right? So we're here to tell you live on the Trevor Gadifina Show from California, citizen of the United States of America, where democracy does exist. And one of the things we're going to persist and fight on is that democracy actually manifests. Because United States of America, you can't talk about democracy. Indonesia, you can't talk about democracy. Dutch government, you can't talk about democracy when what's happening to our Papuan communities and our people in West Papua and the Pacific Islands is happening. You are a hypocrite. You have nothing to do with democracy. So we're going to call you out, and we're going to challenge you to do the right thing. So to our people, we say on the Trevor Gadifina Show, don't fall for the bull. Don't fall for the bull. The freedom fighters with OPM, the freedom fighters with any other group that are in West Papua, they are not animals. They're not diabolical. They are not mercenaries, just bloodthirsty like they're being painted on the media of Indonesia. Your brother, your thoughts on that comment?
Yeah, indeed. That's the current abbreviation or acronym Indonesian is currently using, called like KKB, or in Indonesia it means kelompok kriminal bersenjata, or armed criminal groups. But in reality, TPNPB, the West Papua National Liberation Army, is mandated under the OPM Constitution to carry out its task, which is to protect and defend the territory of West Papua. So West Papua is actually a occupied territory. So the role that is played by, or the task that is carried out by TPNPB, the West Papua National Liberation Army, is basically to defend and protect the territory of West Papua from foreign aliens. So they're not KKB or the armed groups as claimed by the Indonesian people or the media. The funny thing is that, like, when you have international media, they correctly labeled TPNPB, or the West Papua National Liberation Army, as liberation fighters. And also, United Nations last year, in its official website, clearly stated that TPNPB, or the West Papua National Liberation Army, is they are freedom fighters. So they're not armed groups as claimed by Indonesian and its
Exactly.
media. So you cannot trust the Indonesian media right now when it comes to West Papuan conflict. You have to you cannot trust when you go online. You don't just get whatever it's posted there and shade out. You cannot trust the media right now in Indonesia. They're not reliable and honest in reporting on the current situation in West Papua. So the
Right.
only credible information that you want to get about West Papua, you can probably get it on the Jubi. I think Jubi is one of the local media in West Papua that publishes the truth about the current situation in West Papua. I think the journalist, I follow the journalism ethic where they publishes facts, and they kind of like get balanced stories from both sides, from the TPNPB and the Indonesian military. So, but rest of the Indonesian media, you cannot trust them. Their stories kind of like biased. They don't like compare from both sides. So
No, but
if you
their job again. The This is why we bring up propaganda.
Mhm.
Marcus Garvey teaches us again that propaganda It's a tool that is used to
Yep.
direct your thinking, to misdirect your perspective. And Western media, their job is to paint our freedom fighters again as terrorists. That's
Exactly. Yeah.
that's their job. I mean, let's be clear about it. That's their job. But it is a part of the colonial, the persistent, consistent colonial stratagem to divide and conquer. Okay. This continues to be a divide and conquer strategy. That's
Exactly.
why the truth on what's happening in West Papua is happening on the Trevor Gadifuna show.
Mm.
This is where the truth is going to be found on what's happening from the Mount of Leone, right? May she rest in peace. From the Mount of Brother Lewis, who are people working on the ground. They may not be on the ground level, but they're working on the ground level, right? To make sure that the information that we get is relevant, legit, up to date information that is not watered down.
Mm.
I want to show a couple of pictures here real quickly, right? And this right here is Joko Widodo. He is the current president of the Republic of Indonesia, correct?
Yes.
All right. And right here, we have KH Maruf Amin, um, president of the Wakil president of the Republic of Indonesia, correct?
Yeah. The vice president.
Okay. And here we have the Minister of Religious Affairs. Okay. I don't have his name there, but this is the Minister of Religious Affairs.
Mm-hmm.
This right here is the President of the Republic. And this guy right here is the President of Wakil President of the Republic of Indonesia. And his name means Amin. Amin means trustworthy. That's one of my Muslim names, is Amin. It means trustworthy. And the reason I wanted to pull up their picture, my brother, is because Indonesia is a Muslim state. 90% Muslim state. The crime rate is real low in Indonesia. They have rules and regulations in Indonesia. They seem to be men and women of integrity in Indonesia, right? But I think that's an illusion. I think it's a complete lie. Based on what I see happening, what we see happening in West Papua, they are pretenders. They're pretenders. Or is Islam teaching these particular Muslims in Indonesia to be colonizers? Now, anything you can say about that?
Yeah, indeed. They they talk about religion and then they practice something totally opposite. So yeah, it is concerning when you have a for example, in West Papua, Indonesian president has visited West Papua many times. I think 8 times now, and like his recent visit, recently, I think 2 or 3 days ago, it's kind of like a surprise one, and nobody knew about his coming, and it was taken. It took everyone by surprise, and um, when he came over to West Papua, he like the way he came he came in the night, and in our belief in the Bible it says that
Like a
um,
thief in the
especially
night.
in the Bible the thief comes at night. So the people are saying that oh he's like more like a thief coming in the night to steal and kill and destroy the Papuans. So yeah, it's not a surprise when you have people like that claiming themselves to be, religious and but then they do something totally opposite to what they believe, and yeah, it's really sad the way they're handling the issue of West Papua, the way they're treating our people. It's sort of contradict what they believe. Our the Bible talks about love and respecting other people, and
No, but Lewis,
but that's not what they're practicing.
do they really believe that though? Because you can say anything, right? You can say anything, but
Mm,
your actions prove whether you believe what you're saying,
exactly. Yeah.
right? So I don't think they believe it.
Mm,
No, no, I'm dead serious because
yes.
because look, I have a Quran, you know, and I know a lot of Muslims, unless they are also fraud
Mhm,
too, but they seem to be loving. They show love, right? Let's not be ignorant to history,
mhm,
because the first ones who enslaved Africans were Muslims. That's a fact. That
mhm,
the first, before the Judeo-Christian, before the Christians decided they were going to enslave Africans, as a matter of fact, the Christians bought African slaves from Muslims. This is a historical fact.
mhm,
We dare anyone to go back and Google it up and research it for yourself.
mhm,
And this is why we say to those black brothers who are Muslims, be cautious. We say to those brothers and sisters who are Christians, be cautious. You're actually practicing the religion of your slave master.
mhm.
Fact. That's a fact. But we're not here. We're not bastardizing Islam. We're not. You see my kufi here? I know all about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'm definitely not bastardizing Islam. But
Mhm.
I'm asking all of you to do what Michael Jackson said. Look at the man in the mirror. Yeah. Look at the man in the mirror. Just don't talk the talk. We need to walk the walk,
Mhm.
because our communities in West Papua need us. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach out to the president of the republic, and it's going to be a personal letter. We're going to request to sit down with them, have a conversation about what's going on in West Papua. We're going to reach out to the consulates here in the United States of America. If there are any Papuans in the U.S., please join this initiative. If there are any friends of the Papuans in the U.S., just send me a private conversation. We'll bring you into the conversation on this campaign. And it's just going to be a letter writing, and it's not complicated. Louis Pry, in the name of Leone Tagama, this is a commitment. We're going to initiate a letter writing campaign, even if it's me by myself writing that letter, to get the attention of the Indonesian government so that they can step up to what it means to be Muslim, because again, it's a 90% Sharia law state. So we have a couple of other concerns here, about the condition in West Papua. The impact of the ongoing military operations. Can you talk about the impact of the ongoing? So we have military on the grounds in West Papua, correct?
Indeed, West Papua region is the only region in the Pacific, maybe Asia Pacific, that is heavily militarized. The impact of the Indonesian military operations on the lives of indigenous Papuans is so severe. For example, since 2018, when the liberation uh, fighters attacked those Indonesian road construction workers who are linked to the Indonesian military. that sort of escalated the violence. So as a result, they continue to carry on these major military operations, mainly centered in the Central Highlands of West Papua. So um, we have currently right now over 60 to 100,000 people have been displaced. So like I've mentioned, this current war zone, the areas that are currently under active conflict war zone in West Papua will be Induga, Puncak Papua, Yaukimo, Pegunuang Bintang, or the Star Mountains, Maibrat, Yapin Island. Yapin Island is recently, and Intan Jaya. So the current armed conflict between the West Papuan National Liberation Army and Indonesian military have resulted in mass displacement of civilians in the affected conflict zone. So every corner of West Papua now is actually experiencing this violent military displacement situation, which actually began in Induga Regency, where over 50,000 people have been forced to flee their homes since 2018. So the estimated total of internally displaced people in West Papua is roughly between, that's a current report done by an NGO in West Papua. So they estimated between 90 to 100,000 people being um, people who are expected to, but this figure is expected to increase as the military conflict or situation in West Papua and
So approximately 100,000 people have been displaced.
yes, so it's expected to increase. So you have now the current situation in West Papua is not looking good, and we are extremely concerned that the more military sent in, then they will start to, instead of uh, going after the liberation fighters, they're going over to the villages and started attacking and shooting civilians. And recently, recent report that we've seen as well in Puncak, Papua, they are not going after the liberation fighters who basically are the ones that they're supposed to go for, but instead they're going over to the villages and started attacking the civilians and the women and the children, and as a result there were people they had been shot, and many have now been displaced from their homes. And we're extremely concerned. The world needs to look into this current involvement of Indonesian security forces,
That's
especially.
what you see. That's a strategy. That
Mhm.
strategy is smoke. It's like when you have something hiding in a hole and it won't come out, you got to smoke it out. So the attacking of civilians is like smoke. They trying to get the liberation fighters to come out. Okay, because now you're attacking our family. So this is a message to the liberation fighters. You're being smoked out. They trying to smoke you out. And shame on the Indonesian government in the example of the 12-year-old kid who they claim was a liberation fighter, right? And what the hell if it was? Huh? It's called liberation. Grandfathers are supposed to fight. Great grandmothers are, if they could pick up a broomstick, what do you expect? They're supposed to fight. But
Exactly.
don't accuse a 12-year-old of being a liberation fighter if you don't have facts so that you could bastardize his body and bastardize who he is as a human being, because it only shows that you are animals. That's what it is showing, is that you are actually animals. So that is a smoke strategy. They trying to smoke out the freedom fighters. That's why they're going after their families. And freedom fighters, you are in God's hands and your ancestors' hands. And one thing the colonizer has never been able to fully understand is the spirituality of who we are. You see, the main thing that protects us is our spiritual selves. It's not our physical selves. So they can continue to try it, Lewis. But, oh man, scripture also says, woe, woe unto those who press upon the people that which they would not press upon themselves.
Indeed, indeed.
Message to the lawyers and the judges, to the president, to the dignitaries of Indonesia. Woe, woe, scripture has warned you, and we're forewarning you right now. Woe, woe unto you for oppressing the land, because you're going to pay the ultimate price. Right? So
Indeed, yes.
there is the DOB, Dire Autonomy Barrow Plan of Expansion of New Administrative Region and its impact on indigenous Papuans. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yes. So yes. So DOB plan, or it's a plan by Indonesian state to create new administrative regions. So recently they created another three more provinces to the current two. So we've got now five new provinces. So Article 76 of the Special Autonomy Law states that the expansion of new provinces shall be carried out with the approval of MRP and DPRP. MRP is called MRP, it's the acronym for Majelis Rakyat Papua, and DPRP is acronym for Dewan Perwakilan Rakyat Papua. So it's like Papuan council, and the other one is like a local parliament. So they will be the one who will give these approvals, but giving a close attention to number one, which is the cultural and social and cultural unity. The other one, the economic ability and the development in the future. And the other one is the readiness of the human resources. So these three criteria must be fulfilled first. But so what we have seen is these Article 76 were not fulfilled. So Indonesian government has rushed into creating these new provinces when the Papuans have actually rejected these laws. So and then many times the Indonesian president Joko Widodo came to West Papua, but he failed to meet the local leaders of MRP and DPRP to actually hear the aspiration of West Papuan people. So they've just gone ahead and created these new provinces. And up until now, West Papuan people have made their stand clear, like they do not like this idea or the plan to create these new provinces, but Indonesian government is so stubborn, and they've gone ahead and created these new provinces. So this is very it's so sad. They're not listening to the wish and demand of the West Papuan, basically. Yeah.
Right, right. But we don't expect them to listen without pressure coming from the people.
Mm.
Okay. Again, this show is dedicated to Leone Tangama, who was one of those who stood up against these human rights violations and just didn't take it. She just didn't take it and lay down and said, "Okay, I'm powerless. There's nothing I could do about that."
Mm.
Right? The enemies, the powers that be, that's exactly what they want.
Mm.
For us to feel powerless, for us to feel unable because we're busy with work. Oh, I can't focus on that. I can't think about that.
Mm.
Because there are people who leave West Papua never to think about West Papua again.
Mm.
They're just happy to be out of the situation, gone, alive, safe. But that's exactly what the enemy wants. Okay? You see,
Exactly.
they utilize fear.
Mm.
Now, to those who claim they are spiritually driven, one thing you should not fear is death. And we're not going to encourage you to be ignorant and run in front of a train or to jump off of a freeway or off of a bridge. We're not going to encourage ignorance.
Mm.
Protect yourself. Be smart.
Yeah.
Be wise in all that you do. But
Yeah.
you were the minute you were born, the clock started ticking on the day when that clock was going to stop ticking.
Mm.
So death is inevitable. So the powers that be use the fear tactic, Louis. We are afraid for our lives, but we're not even thinking about unborn children. Think about this. Here I am, I'm afraid for my life, and I'm just going to let the oppressor do whatever he or she wants to do to me. And then when my grandchildren are born, they're going to be born into an oppressed state
Exactly. Exactly.
because I was afraid of my life.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah?
basically, what the people of West Papua, especially those who are actively involved in fighting for the rights of the West Papuan people, are doing it for the future generation. And
Yeah. Yeah.
at the moment, like we have people that people in West Papua, those who are supporting the Indonesian government and carrying out all these programs, don't realize that yeah, if they are gone, then what's going to happen to the children?
Yeah.
That's the concern. Many don't see that. They look at the present, current situation. They're happy that they're being looked after by the Indonesian state, but they don't realize that what about the future generation, your children and your grandchildren? What's going to happen to them? Are they? Do you want them to continue? Do you want them to continue to live under this regime that doesn't respect the rights of the Papuans? Do you want them to be killed? So these are the
Yeah.
questions that they really need to consider. They really need to, understand. But again, I'm just going to explain a little bit about this, the impact of this DOB plan, or the plan to create this new administrative region. So what's going to happen? What we've seen right now is the land grabbing.
Right.
One of the impact would be it's going to create an environment for land grabbing through either granting of mining permits for foreign company to do the exploration, or through construction of additional government enterprises. So basically what we're seeing now is you have people illegally doing these illegal activities by issuing these permits to these foreigners. So this is the problem we are seeing right now. We have landowners not being consulted and with no knowledge at all that their land is being taken over. So recently, I think in Sorong Regency, there's like local landowners who are taking the company to court because they were not aware that I think the permit was issued for this company to uh, plant this oil palm or something. So this is one of the classic situation we're seeing right now, and the other one will be the marginalization of the impact of this DOB plant would be the marginalization of Papuans on their own land would only increase. So um, you will see that Indonesians who are coming in newly arrived migrants from Indonesia are favored by the governments over there. They will they're being offered jobs and within the government, and so and this will sort of uh, create what we term as a form of a new colonization called a settlers colonization. You have people moving into West Papua. So the aim is to replace the indigenous Papuans of the colonized area with settlers from other parts of Indonesia. So this is another thing we're seeing right now. You have these people moving in and settling, and then what's going to happen is it's basically going to threaten the lives of the Papuans. for example, their way of life and identity, which has been passed to them from generation to generation, is going to be threatened basically with this new form of colonization, where you have settlers moving in, and then the whole area is going to be colonized by
Yeah.
these.
Well, part of the plan is in the next 20, 30 years, people like yourself will be talking about how things used to be in West Papua.
Exactly, exactly,
Oh, back in the day, that's what they want. And there won't be no Papuans. Every,
exactly. Yeah,
every Papuan will be mixed blood, right? Because that's
yeah,
another part of their strategy is going to be the intermarrying and
exactly. Yeah,
with Papuan
yeah,
male and female. That's a part of the washing away
yeah,
of a whole nation
yeah,
of people. But
yeah,
the
and
spirit, but the spirit of being a Papuan, though, that's something they
yeah.
can't wash away.
Exactly, and another third impact would be we have seen the rise in the human rights violations.
Mhm.
So these new provinces will actually pave the way for for new military base, new facilities for security, apparatus. So when you have more military base being built, more opposition, there's going to be more human rights violations being committed by Indonesian state. So we are extremely concerned that the impact of these new provinces. And recently, I spoke to one of my friends back in Papua yesterday, and he was saying me that they are creating little regencies, as a result of this DOB plan. They're creating these little regencies, and people are confused. Like, where do you get the people to come in and work? And he said something in Bahasa. He said, and I'm gonna quote. He said, "Orang Papua kami bisa hitung dengan jari." So he was saying that the Papuans, we can count them. We can basically count them by fingers. But when you have people coming in, you create these new provinces, then you're gonna see a mass
Yeah,
influx of people moving in
yeah.
compared to Papuans. You can just basically count them. Okay, this is Papuans, one, two, three, four, and that's it. But the rest would be Indonesians. So
Well,
this is
not
the
no
concern
not
that
not
they're having right
no,
now.
because there's also a group of black people that they're going to bring in who are not Papuans, and there's also going to be another group of immigrants
Yeah,
that are not Indonesian, and those group of black people, that other group of Indonesians, they're going to turn them against Papuans and Papuans against them, so that you guys will be fighting over the little jobs or the few jobs that are
exactly.
available. And a good example is going to be, say for instance, some people come from Africa, right? They almost look like you and I, but there's going to be a battle between you and I for those jobs, for those positions. All a part of the strategy to make
Exactly.
sure that the Indonesian majority are actually in position of power, you know what I'm saying, and slowly but surely
Mm.
eradicating and getting rid of the Papuans. Now, my brother, I do want you to take care of yourself. I want to thank you for tuning into the Trevor Gadifin show today. And I'm asking you to take care of yourself because the last interview that I had with Leonie, she looked as healthy as you look.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
I didn't see, Leonie never said, Trevor, I'm having health issues. You
Yes.
know, let me, give me a little time. It was always, hey, when is the show? When are we gonna do it? Let's do it. Let's get it done.
Yes.
We should have did it yesterday. So
Mm.
I'm a little concerned because I don't know, but I'm gonna say it. I'm a little concerned that there should be an autopsy if for a person like a Leone. And an autopsy is when they actually take the body and they look for any unusual activity,
Yep.
right, that could propose that something else might have happened to our sister.
Yep.
Because I'm afraid, my brother, I'm afraid for you, being in where you're at. I'm afraid for other brothers and sisters who are in the position of being liberation fighters, for being land defenders, because the attack on your lives is serious business. The
Yeah.
attack on the lives of land defenders and freedom fighters, or liberation fighters, is serious business. So that's why I say to you, brother Lewis, please, my brother, be careful what you drink around people. Be careful what you eat around people. Just be careful, my brother, and because I don't put anything past the colonizer, right? But we're not afraid. Okay, we're not afraid of what they can do to our physical bodies, because we know that Yahweh, God the most beneficent, is with us, and we will prevail. Democracy must and will prevail. And the commission that God has for the Papuan community, because you are a special community of people. Papuans are a special Aboriginal group of people. UNESCO deemed you an intangible heritage to humanity. You hear me? The Papuans' intangible heritage to humanity means humanity can't. Humanity could survive with the knowledge that you possess.
Mm.
With the knowledge the Papuans have, if everything were to crumble, we could go to the Papuans and Papuans would be like, "It's okay. We're gonna be fine. This is what we can eat. This is medicine." You know,
Mm.
because you guys are people from the earth. So if you could give us your closing comment, my brother, thank you for being on the Trevor Goody for the show.
All right, yeah. So, yeah, thank you, Brother Trevor, for the opportunity which is given to me, where I can be able to share about the struggle of the West Papuan people. And um, as usual, the people of West Papua needs support from the international community. We cannot allow the people of West Papua to continue on to suffer like this. I think we need to bring a closure to this illegal colonial situation. And again, thank you so much for the opportunity. I believe that such show like this can help further, boost the struggle of the West Papuan people. And yeah, thank you once again, Brother Trevor, for the opportunity. And I look forward to work with you in, advocating for the rights of the West Papuan people. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, my brother, thank you for being here. And for those who tuned in, thank you for being here with us today. Please continue to share this feed. We're talking about what's going on in Haiti. We're talking about what's going on in Burkina Faso. We're talking about what's going on with the Garifuna community. We're talking about what's going on with the Maroon Jamaican community. We're talking about what's going on with our brothers and sisters in South Bronx, New York. We're talking about what's going on with our brothers and sisters in South Central Los Angeles. Okay. It's a whole lot going on with us. And through the dissemination of information, we can block a lot of the ignorance that the enemies are throwing out there, or the traps or the snares that they're throwing out there. We can step over them just by simply disseminating information with ourselves. Once again, dedicated to the life and the legacy of Leone Tagama. Blessings upon you, dear ancestor. And to Marcus Mosiah Garvey, blessings upon you, dear ancestor. Everything that we are today is because of you and your struggles. And Leone, the struggle continues. The struggle continues. Organisasi Papua Merdeka. Free West Papua. How about you?
Free West Papua.